morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning, YouTube viewers. Good morning, Facebook Nation. Good morning to all people, all colors, all races, all languages around the world. Good morning. Beautiful day. Um, Today's topic, as you can see, no notebook, because when you talk about a subject in which we're going to talk about today, I personally experienced it, and today's topic is fitting of that. But before we start, click like, subscribe, share. There's a playlist that has all topics, talking about everything that we go through in life. So that's why you're not going to find comments in the comment box, because you can go and you can pick out a video. You got a question, you say, hey, well, I got a question from this video. Then other videos that I have made answers any question, anytime, anywhere. This way, you'll never be waiting on a response. You can just go on the playlist and get that information right then and there, how things apply to one another. Good morning, people overseas. Good morning, people here in the States. Good morning, people all over the world. Good morning. One of the things that this topic made me come out to do is because I had said in one of my earlier videos about mass shootings, and my condolences to the two people in New Jersey over the weekend that they experienced that mass shooting. All those people at a party. And then remember, the people that came in to do this, they weren't looking for, they sprayed everyone. And the fact was that even when the police got there, they said that they didn't know if it was an ambush. So, people aren't running. People are not afraid. And a lot of what we're seeing with these mass shootings, we're seeing that at the tail end of it, there's either harassment, there's either bullying, there's some kind of outside cause due to these actions. So basically, to me, it seems like mass shootings are where people drew the line and said, you know what, forget you, I'm taking all of you. And this is the mindset that we're in. Like I said, 2021, this is the killing season. As sad as it may sound, we can walk around with blinders over our eyes, but really nowhere is safe, because no one really understands what's going on in the world around us. A lot of things are being exposed, in this day and age. But one of the things that I want to say to you, and the reason I can speak on this topic is because when I was young, I was in a park, and the park was full, and it was summertime, and everybody was out, and it was just a good time. And I remember standing, and there was a conversation, older people were talking, and I was on my way to home to get a towel to come back to the park. And the park was right beside where I lived. So, I'm on my way back, and I saw the man, and this is what these things will never leave your mind. But then from that experience, I don't fear nothing. And I want to explain how this man, he walked across, for people who, are my age, who grew up with me, you'll remember this, so I'm not going to, say these names. He walks across a basketball court, and he just walks over to the crowd, and I remember as clear as day. Everyone sees it, and he just starts opening fire. So everyone's running. Here I am, a little kid, I'm running towards my house. And I remember the woman grabbed me, and to this day, I know who she's related to, but I've never seen her again, but she grabbed my arm, and she was like, come on, run with me, run. And I'll never forget, we crossed the street, and the guy said, stop. He's still firing at all these people, but for whatever reason, he's running after this woman, and he said, stop. She stopped, and I don't know if anyone ever remembers that movie, Conan the Barbarian, where, the mother is holding the little boy, and the barbarian, takes her life, but they take the child. And what I want to point out is, holding a child's hand, because this is what this lady did. She held my hand, and I just remember the shots going off, and I remember her looking down at me and falling to the ground. And he walked away. All those bullets being sprayed. I don't know if he reloaded or loaded, but it seemed like those bullets just didn't stop. But when she fell to the ground, he just walked over, he looked, and he just walked away like he was on lunch break. And as an adult, I knew that he was beyond human. That look was beyond human. That look was There was no expression. It was glass. His pupils were literally black. I'd never seen anything like that before. So that's not the only time that I was around. As an adult, there was a mass shooting, and everyone started to run. They were looking for specific people, but they didn't care. They sprayed. Children were out, and this took place in that same area. So even in that time, I I grabbed because there was two younger girls that were out. Remember, these people don't care. Once the line is drawn, they don't care who's around. And that's the unfortunate part of what is taking place. But I'm going to give you the warning signs of what's taking place before all this stuff and what you can use from it and how we can see situations developing so we can react before situations happen. Because they happen all the time and they happen anywhere and they can happen in a split second. But if you don't know what you're looking for, you know, it's important too. It's better to know than to not know. So everyone is running, and there was two shooters, and you know everyone was out, and so when everyone runs, the two girls are trapped. They're stuck. They don't know what to do. So I ran. You know, and you have to think about this. All those people that were out there saw those two girls out there in the middle of this gunfire. Nobody ran out there. I ran out, and I grabbed them, put them behind the wall, and I covered them. And when the gunman walked up, he was spraying bullets, and he saw what was taking place. So one of the gunmen saw it. And I'll never forget this. And the females, you know, they're adults now, they will never forget this. That he walked over with the gun. You can smell the gunpowder. Before he even turned that corner where we were at, you could smell the gunpowder. And he pointed a gun at my head. And like I said, experienced that when I'm young, as an adult. You didn't get no emotion from it. And that's the one thing that you do not show in any situation. Never show emotion, because they don't. If you show emotion, then you trigger emotion from them. And you say that that's kind of a weird type of deal, but it's really not. It's like going into like a Zen trance almost. But it worked. And I'll never forget, he pointed the gun at my head, and he's looking at the two young girls that were, you know, I'm trying to protect. And the other gunman walked over to him and he said, no, not them. And the guy started firing again. Just went off and started firing. So I understood then that, you know, that there's a mindset, that there's layers to these types of deals. Now, I also explain about how condone and why it's good not to condone, because before the situation, the second situation started, where the the two gunmen just started firing into the crowd, there was bullying going on, and I wasn't a part of it. Like I said, I don't condone that. I don't condone it. I don't even be with people who like to gossip and all that crap. I don't tolerate that, because I know what it leads to if you mess with the right person. So, you know, I watched this kid. He was kind of overweight, and but you know, he was you know, people liked him. And he had this kid that, you know, he's no longer here because he was the bully. He is no longer alive, and he was taken out of life because of a person that he bullied. When we find this all too often, you know, that bullies don't stop, you know, but there is an end for a bully, whether it's, you know, going off into the sunset and, you know, nobody wants to deal with them because they know what their personality is, or they go off and they, you know, do something and draw the line and say, you know, hey, either take my life and their life, or I'm just going to take all their lives. So, you know, there's a line between that. But, you know, I want to get through the bullying. And the bullying was where, you know, this kid come around and, you know, he would just bully him. You know, either walk up to him, take his money, or, you know, he would be with his girlfriend, and, you know, he wouldn't do it by himself. Would not do it. He always needed a crowd of people to do it. But those people backed him. Those were the people that this man was firing at. Not only was he firing at them, he had someone else that came with him who had nothing to do with it, to be willing to carry this out, to take out as many people as possible. So, you know, we have to understand the world that we live in. And this is in the past, but these shootings are happening all the time. And the reason that these shootings are happening all the time, and they're not going to stop, this summer will be by far the biggest mass killings that we have ever seen. So far this year, we already broken every record. So far this year, we have already broken every record. So, these things are coming close. They're coming close to home. They're coming close to us. Now, where there's situations that are being played out in the news right now, and I'm going to explain each situation, and because each one of those situations has to do with how these things develop, how people get to the mind state where they say, you know what, no more. And this is where, we can take something from this. If you look in politics right now, there was a woman, I don't know her name to say her name. I know there's this Liz something, but she had spoke out and she said, hey, you know what, we need to get on with things, and this stuff right here is taking away from it. She was stripped of power because she went against the people to speak up to say, hey, this is wrong. You have nothing to, you have not proved anything. And she was stripped of her power by other people. These are cowards, dirty people. Now, that was her for speaking up against something that was wrong, or she felt that was wrong. But there's a lot of people that feel that that's wrong. But she was reprimanded from it, stripped of her position. Financial, she took. So there's when you step up against, and people that you smile around all the time, as long as you're in agreement, as long as you're doing what they're doing, they bully people, they do things, they lie, they spread lies. Once you say, hey, this is wrong, you become the enemy. And remember this, you become the enemy. But it's better to be the enemy and to be able to walk away with a conscience. And I'm going to explain how that is. And it's better to walk away. And when the second mass shooting that I was involved in, that took place, I truly believe that it was because of my karma, that my energy was that strong, that, hey, I'm not for this, and I'm here, I'm saving these two kids, and, that's it. I don't know you, I don't have anything to do with you, but, to go back to the second story, so you had the one with the lady Liz, where she was stripped of her power, she was stripped of being a leader for speaking the truth. Think about that. Think about the world we live in, where you have a leader who is stripped for doing the right thing. Now, the second one is playing out in the sports world, where now remember I talked about scripts and how these things are started. Hate is it's an algorithm. It's an algorithm. So this sports figure was away from the sport that he played professionally for 10 years. No one even spoke about this guy. You play and, you go on with life and that's it. But what they did with this guy was not only did they spread a story on the news about this guy's family, spread a story based on truth and lies. So the story that they had spun is that, the father was an abusive father, and, the daughter, and the brothers, and, that they were criminals and everything like this. Come to find out that, he never grew up with that family. The family that they spread that stuff about, he didn't even grow up with them. And some of them he didn't even know. So it was an estranged relationship. One set of kids here, one set of kids here. What they did was combine them. And then they said, well, once the guy came out and exposed them for what they had done, the company that he exposed for doing it, because he went back, instead of, getting angry with them, he said, I'm going to give you a taste of your own medicine, which he did. And then they sent lawyers after him. Told him that he couldn't talk, even though that they had started they started this rumor, and the guy responded to it, and then they sent papers to him. So this tells you that evil has a team, but evil also gets dealt with. So there's a line to it, but it's a back and forth thing now. But to put that point out there, the guy was just living his life, and then they just came. A friend of his said, hey, did you see this? They're talking about your family. Literally. So these are things to draw you in, because again, these are the most filthiest people. People who harass, people who bully, people who do these things. They are cowards. They're evil people. Point blank. And they don't deserve no respect. So, and the third one is, which one was the third one? It'll come to me. But what I want to say in all this is that, there's penalties that go with it. So life in itself is a hard ordeal. And when we're in situations where you're sitting in an office, or you're talking to friends, and we'll always hear this, and it's hard. But at the same time, it's hard to tell someone, hey, look, I don't want to hear this. But what I say, the most important thing is for all of us to always be ourselves. Always be ourselves. Because, growing up, like I said, I think we didn't, have the privilege to grow up in the best of places. So when it came to gunfire, you know, I am a vet. I've been through war. So, I've seen some of the worst shootings. So, you know, one thing that I know that I could take away from it is that, so many times where those things were happening, and I say to myself, wow, this happened right next to me, right beside me, and I'm still here. So, you have to know your karma. And, when I say that there's a real reason. There's a real reason, good people are still upon this earth. And the reason good people are still upon this earth is because the earth could not function without it. Everyone would take each other out. So, and what our responsibility is and what we do is, we have to see things. We have to step back. You have to think about if somebody was doing this to you. But when you think about these people, oh, there it is. When you think about these people, we're going to talk about the one out in Colorado, because there was like two within the same week previously. And here you got a 20-year-old kid, or what we can say a high school shooting. But here we have a 20-year-old kid who just walks in one day and says, I had enough. This is it. There were people who hear these screams before these screams are, before the action is there. And, one thing that we hear all too often is once these things take place, and people say, well, I don't know what happened. I don't know. He was crazy. No, you know. And it's like when the bully gets shot, the kid kills this bully. And, people are like, oh, that's messed up. But when he was killed, it wasn't like that. What they ended up saying was, oh, it was only a matter of time. He was bullying this kid all the time. It was only a matter of time. Only a matter of time. So, for us out there, the way that we protect ourselves, go back to Colorado kid. So, you have to say to yourself, what makes a 20-year-old kid wake up and say, hey, I'm going to take everyone out? What makes a young kid walk into a school and say, hey, I'm going to take everyone out? What makes a kid go into his mother's job and try to take as many people out as they can? And like I said, it comes with how we treat people. Because, there's people out there that will push and will push and will push. And even though, that's why I talked about the sportscaster. The woman, Liz, the politician, she was demoted. The sportscaster, Jalen Rose, for speaking up, they made him come on the next day to apologize for speaking the truth. I mean, literally, I never saw, I watched a sports channel and I never saw something like that happen. He was telling the truth. Hey, leave this guy alone. You're, talking about this guy and, you just should not do this. And they made him come on to apologize. So it tells you that, causing trouble makes money. Causing trouble is something that, we've evolved into. And it's going to take us, just like, throughout this past year to come together. It's going to take all of us to turn around to make this stop. And it all starts with each one of us to make that change within our circles, within our lives, to say, hey, you know what? We need to stop. We need to focus on, our lives. Forget about what the next person is doing. Let's focus on our lives. But we're going to find that, like I said, you're going to find people that just don't do it. They don't care. They want to cause trouble. They want people to look up to them when they're really, really cowards. And, behind closed doors, these people are nothing. But it's the people like you and me that when these cowards get around and they try to, manipulate us to harass and to be a part of the laughing crew and be a part of the it crew, go back to what took place in New Jersey. Because they didn't care who was at that party. Go back to Colorado, he didn't care who was in that store. Go back to any shooting, mass shooting, they don't care who's in the crowd. And we can do our part to stop these things, and it's by not condoning. And I want to leave you with this. A few days ago, I'm out, I'm walking, and just getting that morning air. And for me, if you were well off, Because no matter what situation you are in life, if I can help you, I'm gonna help you. So now we know that it's been hot. All this time it's been hot. So uh, as I'm out, I see a person that I know. His name is Bob, and he's got mental problems. So he's always got this heavy jacket, and on this day he's carrying this big black bag, and it's like 80 degrees out. So I was like, hey, how you doing? Good morning. And I always say good morning to the less fortunate, because they need it. They're important too. And that's why I say, those things make a difference when it comes to how someone is going to react towards situations in their life. They're going to be like, oh, there is someone who's out there that is genuine. So, long story short, I was like, hey, how you doing? Good morning, and I was like, I said, it's hot. Do you got anything, to drink? I know where he lives, so he was way away from where he lives. So he was like, no, I really, didn't make too much. I didn't get too much this month, so, pretty much no. So I was like, I said, look, I'm going right up the street. I'm going to the store anyway. On my way back, I'm saying I'll bring you something to drink. Just wait for me. So he's like, all right, I'll be right here. So as I'm leaving, and this is why I say, we have to always, we always have to, give benefit of doubt in how the mind works. So on the way back, I'm like, this stuff is heavy, because I bought two big things of iced tea. So I was like, I'm turning the corner. I'm like, I didn't see him. I was like, this guy, I said, this guy ain't gonna be there. I said, I bought this stuff for nothing. So, and I had a long way to go to get back home. And, but he was there. He was there. So, I gave it to him, small talk and stuff. So as I'm there, I said, Bob, I owe you an apology. And he said, why? And I said, because, I said, when I turned that corner, I didn't see you. I said, I thought that you wouldn't be there. So he said, Dennis, he said, I believe you. And those are good things to hear. So as I walk away and I'm on my way and I run into someone else I always, talk to in the mornings, he's like, why are you always talking to those people? And this is somebody I don't talk to anymore. No more. No more. No more. Why do you talk to those people? And I said, well, what do you mean? Talk to what people? I said, I talk to everybody. I said, if somebody's nice to me, I'm going to be nice to them until they prove themselves otherwise. Most people that you run into that have already, screwed you over, you can't continue to be nice to them. You can't even associate with them. So I said to him, I speak to everyone. And he was like, oh, well, I know a few people that tried to help them, and, they don't want to do anything for themselves. He's talking about all the people who walk around through, that downtown area, not realizing, not taking into account that, people with mental disabilities, they close down all the state hospitals. So these people are out here just like you and me. And that's another thing that you have to understand, that by these places where, facilities have been closed down, these people are roaming and they're right with you and me, and we're thinking that everything is everything, and they're not mentally and stably there. So I said to the guy, I said, look, I said, I don't appreciate the fact that you were asking. I said, I said, now you're white, I'm black. I said, now what if that person over there said, hey, why are you talking to this black person? Why are you dealing with that black person? I said, that's the same thing. And I said to him, I said, one thing about me that I said, we'll never have another conversation again. Never, ever have another conversation again. So even my small interaction with the person that was there, that I knew, I seen this guy all the time, always friendly, always had good conversation. But when he crossed the line of pointing down someone who was less fortunate, that told me about who you were, what you're about, and what you stand for. And that if you can stand for something like that, then I want no part of it. So, for all of us, we have to open up our eyes to say what it is that we stand for, but also, we have to be aware of what's going on with other people, because other people have feelings too. And, just because we're in a group of people, and these are the groups that we're in, your social circle, your families, one thing that, I encourage everyone who watches this video to look up narcissism, because I have it in my family. I have it in former friends. I have it in associate dealings. I have it in neighbors. I have it, we have them all over. But you need to understand who these people are, Because if you don't understand who these people are, then you never know what situations that you're in. So I want everyone to be safe, because nobody deserves to lose their lives. No one. But then again, no one deserves to be harassed. No one deserves to be bullied. No one deserves to be gossiped about. No one deserves that. And we do it all too much. And we have to stop sitting back and letting the news and all these other media outlets spin these things of this dysfunctional, disgruntled, and crazy, and all this other stuff. Well, what made the person? These are the things that we have to say, and these are the things that make change. And these are the things that you need to ask yourself. Because like I said, I've been around many shootings, many shootings, because of the environment and where our family was financially had to live. It wasn't a place where you had a choice. What your finances is, they threw you in a project. So, again, you know, understand what's going on, ask the right questions when we hear about these situations, because these situations are not going to stop. You know, that line has been drawn. Everything that we're seeing right now, 2020 is responsible, because what it showed is that you can do anything that you want. You can lie, you can cheat, you can steal, you can kill. And once you do that, people nowadays are not sitting back saying, hey, you know, I'm just going to sit there and I'm going to, you know, do this. People nowadays are saying, hey, you know what? Take them all out. Take them all out. And I think that the reason that that is because I think in those people, in the individual's minds, is because everyone in some way, shape, or form may have had a role to play, or at least that's what they believe. Even though it may be a few people who may be on a job, or it may be a few people who may be in a group, or it may be a few people who spread or harass in some sense. So you know, we have to think about these things. And we have to, you know, really know what our roles are and what our role is in every situation of our lives. Because 2021, you cannot take anything for granted. People are not having it, and they're not having it. They're not having it. Sad to say, you know, but they're not having it. So, you know, protect ourselves. You know, we protect ourselves by, you know, walking away from it. You know, you don't have to tell a person, a gossiper, or somebody who's starting trouble that you don't want anything to do with that and you don't want to talk about it. Walk away. You don't say nothing. You know, walk away. Whenever those conversations are being brought up, walk away. If you're on the phone, you know, hey, you know, can I call you back? Hang up. But what we've been accustomed to, what we've been conditioned to, is to sit there and say what's bad, run to it. You could these videos is a good example of it. You know, it's easy to go out there and say, hey, what is Cardi B? What is Lady Gaga? What is all these, you know, what's going on with this person? What's going on with that? Ooh, I didn't know this happened. We're being conditioned. The only way we can change that is to change our condition. Because there is brainwashing, there is manipulation going on. And, you know, it's sad to see that these results are being the results of it. So, have an awesome day. Be the best you. And stand for what's right. Because if we don't stand for something, we stand for nothing. And with that, everyone, have an awesome day. Have a beautiful day. Peace and